I'm in.
Bam, bam. Yeah, they're current.
I don't have you on my friends list, I don't think. Can
I
we?
have you on my friends list.
All right, can
Hello.
you add me out? I'm literally just removing people because it. Add friend. There we go. I'll let you host up.
Alright.
Yeah, because it kept not letting me add people. I don't really like using the friends list that much, but it helps. Saves us a sec.
Can't accept friend requests. You have more than 200 friends. Oh, I'm the problem, not you.
You piece of shit.
Hold on one sec.
Free. Yeah, I just look at my friends list and it's like it hasn't logged on for 4 years, and I'm like, goodbye.
The friend limit is actually super annoying. I have to keep removing people so often.
Yeah, Blizzard doesn't like people being too popular. They say it's basically it's what they call passive bullying.
Passive bullying.
Yeah, California, man, you should know. You live in LA. So if you have too many friends, it actually creates a dangerous space for people who don't have a lot of friends. So they actually, yeah, so they are actually, you are passively bullying them through your overt popularity. So that's why you've got to actually slow that shit down, man.
I learn something new every day.
Yeah. Got to create safe spaces for people who aren't as popular as you, Max.
We'll watch the straightforward replay first.
All right.
I'll make you host.
Cool. All right, so we'll do the... Oh, you versus Zest? Awesome. Okay. This was from the same thing, right? This was from the Alpha X show match
Yeah.
thingamajiggo.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's such a good question about the shield batteries, dude. Yeah. That's such a hard one, isn't it? I think that changes a lot based on your sentry count, right? Like when you're trying to defend and... Actually, you know what? It's starting to trigger me. Give me 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Okay. 10, 9, 8. What triggered pig? Where's he going?
Okay, here we go. Cool. Sorry.
No
My
worries.
green screen was triggering me a little bit. Even now, it's still blowing in the wind, so I'll turn my fan on. Get wrecked, fan. Okay, cool. So Zest is going to do a big... Is it adept timing?
It's a robo attack. 2 gateways and immortal.
Alright.
Look at this shit fight it took.
Oof. God damn, my headphones are all getting tangled. Alright. Holy shield battery, Batman. I probably would have built that other pylon a little bit further forward personally, just so it's powering more of them in case this pylon does get focused down. But if we look at this, ooh, this is... Oh, you're going blink. Ooh, yeah, that's... Oh, what a timing. Just before blink finishes, and you've got fudge all force field energy. He's got like heaps of force field energy. He's got an immortal... very nice timing from him. It's like really crisp.
So a couple of things about this game is, first of all, I was 90% sure he was going to hit me with this type of timing, which is why I had so many shield batteries on the way. And also, I left 3 stalkers in the main, which was a big mistake, obviously.
Especially since
And
you had the spotting pylon, right? So that probably
yeah.
would have told you, yeah.
And the last thing is, I'm pretty, like, I don't really want to change anything about my build. Like, this is the unit set I have, and I just want to hold with the unit set I've got here, and, like, shield batteries.
Yeah. I mean, let's focus on the tactics because, like, it feels like you should be able to, right? You just kind of
Yes.
need to. You just kind of need to hang on. This map is one where I actually feel like, yeah, this happens a lot to a lot of people. I kind of feel we want that pylon. What do you think? Down into the left one space. So it's kind of overlapping one square with where it is right now, but it's right up snug against the nexus.
Mm.
And then we could kind of have shield batteries all hugging the nexus, essentially. So it would be almost like we're just building another layer of the nexus around the top and right-hand side of it.
Mm.
Because the problem here, right, with where you've placed them is if your units go in front of those shield batteries, you're kind of too close to him, right? You want a force field in the choke point, right? Which is like actually so close to your front shield batteries that he'll be in range still hitting them. Either way, I kind of think you need to split and come from two sides, right? Like you need to have two sentries go around through the mineral line on the left-hand side waiting and two sentries on the right-hand side. And your stalkers, because Blink's finishing, I mean, they're the only units we want to get caught in front of the force fields, right?
Yeah.
And that's fine as long as our sentries survive and we buy a little bit of time there. What do you think?
Yeah, I want like the choke I'm in is definitely like the worst. The way I did it was really bad, but I was thinking maybe I want a concave at my choke and then maybe shield batteries a bit more spread out behind. Maybe I can ping like
Yeah. Well, you could do that. Like for instance, so. Oh, I can't ping either.
yeah, I don't know why.
That's fun. That's cool. But yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, if we think about that concave, like I was saying, if those shield batteries, so you see that the center shield battery tucked in behind all the others, right in the middle. I feel like that should be our most obtrusive shield battery there, right? That should be our furthest forward one, and there should only be shield batteries like directly below that. And directly to the left of that, like the one that's to the left of it. So the two that are right touching the nexus, I think are fine, and I think one down to the right, like just and then two more shield batteries hugging the nexus, or a shield battery, a pylon, and then the other shield battery could be further back, like you were saying, right? So the other shield batteries, but like having them just in a clump there, that would allow us to have. Still wouldn't really be one clumped up concave, right? Because. Unless you split your army on both sides. But then you have a giant concave. Like, what do you think of... Are you against splitting the units? You think it like you get a bit taken advantage of sometimes if you split on both sides? Or like, do you really want to keep them in one clump?
Splitting the units is okay, but ideally, I think that's better than what I did, but I think ideally I have just one really big concave and shield batteries don't get in the way at all. Like if you imagine I had no shield batteries there and no pylons there,
Yeah.
and I can just easily create a concave around the choke.
Yeah.
So is there a shield battery placement that lets me do that still?
So let's think about that. Because even those shield batteries I was talking about still slightly gets in the way of that, right?
Yeah.
If we want to have an uninterrupted concave, if we think about it... so the hard thing is off a single pylon, getting shield batteries in the positions, right? If you have a second pylon, you can do it. Do we have a spare pylon with this build? Yeah, I guess, because you've got one on the map and one down here as a spotting pylon. We probably don't need both of those. Because ideally, I think we'd have a pylon in between. So your two sentries on the left and the stalker on the very left. I think we'd have a pylon there. So basically diagonal down. So bottom right of the nexus, I think we'd have a pylon. And I think we'd have a pylon where your other pylon's going in the top left. Because
So, wait, you think? Yeah, go ahead.
Because then you could put shield batteries kind of one or two in front of the gas. So just in front of that top gas geyser, two shield batteries. And the other two shield batteries could be like, I guess one like kind of hugging right near that pylon, basically somewhere around the bottom right-hand side of the nexus, and then one a bit further to the bottom right. Like, so you see your furthest right stalker? If you imagine...
I'm watching on your stream, yeah.
Just about... Okay, you're watching this. That's, of course, why... So imagine battery there, battery here, battery, because our concave wants to be kind of like here, right?
Oh, show me again? Yeah.
Battery.
Yeah.
Battery.
Yeah, I was thinking something like that also.
But yeah, that means like say we go pylon here, right? So it's like pylon battery or something like that. Or
you need the first pylon to be in a fast warp in though. Fast.
Yeah. So let's say we put the pylon here, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? There? And then you put a battery right next to it, and then another one spread a little bit. So there's like, it's not creating an awkward wall. It still creates a bit of a choke, a bit of a wall, but it's not as bad, I think.
Can we resume from replay so we can just kind of mess around with it, or?
Yeah, let's do it. So if you just replay, there we go. You know how to do it.
We both need to. What do we need to change? Take command will not be available. What is this?
I think you can do take control from the replay menu, can't you?
Yeah, but look at the triangle on the right of your name.
Oh, like observer. Okay, I need to get rid of my.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, this is so important, man. The number of times I see, like, when I'm watching really top level Protoss versus Protoss players with these sentry fights with batteries, I'm always like, oh fuck, who's getting dicked, right? Because there's so many things that happen. I'm like, oh, I think that's going really bad for this guy, and I think he's blocking himself, and then he like crushes the fight, and I'm like, oh shit. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, the Sentry and Mortal Pushes are so powerful in this matchup.
Yeah, especially against Blink. I'm pretty sure that's the main reason he did it. All right. I'll let you be me.
Oh, I get to place? Cool. Sure, you don't want to just do it? Okay. That's fun.
Oh. You can get rid of you can change the first pylon location too if you just want to like kill it.
Yeah. Ooh.
God, this has weird hotkeys. What the hell?
That's so weird having our control groups move to the side, isn't it? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Probably here. And then I guess the other one would be just kind of like there. So I'll let you. What do you think of these two?
Yeah, the first pylon, that's a good spot. I would put my first pylon there.
So
or on this map, I can just use the rocks as reference and put them up to the right above the rocks.
And you can just go kind of like that with two batteries, and you can even so the danger you get in is obviously the fact that you're creating a little bit of a wall.
Yeah.
Which obviously it makes it a little hard. But if you're using force fields as well, as long as you do have escape routes around it, so like it's like something we can do is with this one, if we're like, oh, we'd rather it not be quite as chunky there, we can have like that shield battery, right? Because if I think about where I want to set my units up, so I'll try not to attack you here.
Okay.
But basically, I want to be spread. Let's kill that frontal shield battery because that thing's stupid. Oh, you're sitting on the high ground? Nice.
Yeah.
Because where are the peak force field positions? It's like somewhere, that's probably the furthest forward you would want to go with your force fields. But you could very easily do it.
Yeah.
There.
This actually looks a lot harder to break, or just it feels harder to break already than the way I had it set up.
Yeah. And I mean, what are the downsides of having the shield batteries not as far forward? I mean, is there a downside to not having that pylon quite as far forward?
The only downside is if... No, there's not really a downside unless he goes 2 adepts. Like the pylon sees it a bit faster, so you can block your main a bit faster, but...
That's true. Yeah.
Whatever.
You're good. You're good enough. Yeah. You're quick. You're a quick boy. You don't need that. I say right before you lose a tournament match to not seeing it. You're like, fuck. Yeah, that's big, man. That's big. You know what? I'll warp in 2 more sentries. You want to try and break me?
Sure.
Oh, you just used all your energy, Ruffle.
Oh, well, that was silly of me, I guess. Okay.
I mean, I warped in a few more sentries as well here. But...
Okay. No, this looks hard to break you, actually. Just having the concave is so good.
And then I can start doing hold position micro, yeah.
You require my spine.
Okay, wait. Hotkey's fixed. Are you ready? Oh, you were ready. No, this is too hard to break. I can't break that.
Yeah, you just can't push in, right?
The concave is too good.
The concave is too good.
There's nothing I can force field. I can like try to catch a stalker. Oh.
This is literally the PvP I play. Like what I just did to you, I lose to guys who do that every game. That's how good I am at this matchup. I'm like fucking absolute trash tier. It's so funny how bad I'm learning a lot of new build orders for PvP. You know, like PvP, it's like such a build order matchup, right? You play in a best of 5, like you have to have different builds and be able to play the strategy of them really smart. I feel like it's the most strategic matchup almost. So I'm like trying to learn all these new builds, but you know when you're learning new builds, you just do dumb shit. So yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing else in this game then, right?
No, I this is what I wanted.
Obviously,
yeah.
Yeah, every choke is different depending on the maps. So I think that's a good way to think of it though. If there is a choke point at the front like that, you know, the pylon set up, that pylon there. Obviously, so the problem that can happen here is well, what if you only have the shield batteries on the southern side? So either watch the stream or come in and scout. Basically, what you have to do as the defensive player is you need to be more careful on, like I would, if I see the enemy pushing in, I would just put a zoning force field at the very start of the fight. Because if I don't have the batteries on the top, I can't let him take that top side and then have position out of range of my shield batteries, right? Like, fuck, you know? So that's like the most important area to not let him dick you, is that top side. You know, if he pushes in the bottom side, that's fine. He's fighting dudes in range of shield battery, right? But as long as you're really quick on the force fields on the side that doesn't have the batteries, I think you should be okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just buy enough time to get the batteries up.
Yeah. Shall we hop out?
All right. Yeah, let's hop out.
Awesome.
That was a straightforward replay.
That's such an important thing, though. So many of us get destroyed by force fields. Okay, I'll write some notey notes.
Okay.
Pylon next to mineral plate. World of Sleepers. So it's further back and can build batteries behind the ideal concave, covering the choke. Second pylon on natural between gases for batteries on other side of the concave. And analyze each map for changes, rules on these pylons. She'll naturally figure out as you're playing your PvP on ladder. You'll be like, oh, Nightshade, this doesn't work. It's meant to be here. But that should be cool. So do you want to control or me for this replay?
I'll let you do it.
All right.
I'm a backseat gamer.
Hells yeah. That's a good way to do it.
I put some general questions at the bottom below all the replays, by the way. Like,
oh, cool.
I put a few comments for the specific replays, and then I just put some like general shit at the bottom.
So how important is it to have an idea of where your opponent is? Sometimes you're just kind of doing your thing. You're on autopilot, even though what your opponent's doing and what you've seen doesn't make sense, and then you just die to something silly because you haven't really been putting the pieces together. I think it's better to lose that way than to freeze up. Be like, what's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? Right? So obviously if it's a choice between the two, we'd rather just keep playing our normal game plan. But sometimes I guess I would try to approach that in two parts, right? So what we try to do, I'm just putting my text in bold, is I'd look for generalized okay, so first things first, understanding, right? Always look to watch and break down the opponent's, the opponent's build from the replay from their point of view. Make sure you fully understand every detail of it, right? Is the first thing. Because you might be like, oh, of course it was this thing. But like, there might be like a rule that's actually set in stone. You're like, oh, I know if it's this, it's this. Right? If we don't have an exact tell, or if we don't have an exact understanding of like where that build can lead to or anything like that, then we can end up in a bit of trouble. So I think break down the opponent's build from the replay from their point of view. Make sure you have a deep understanding of it, and list out tells, or extra scouting you can add in. So the next thing is, what is a generalized response list, right? Now, for a noob player, this would be me saying, hey, let's have someone's doing weird shit. Here's the list of things you do. Do a hallucination and check what he's doing or something. For you, it's going to fall into much more specific categories of, wait, why isn't there a third CC yet off this specific opening at this time? What could it be? Oh, it's a fucking 2-base mech push or some crazy fucking shit. You'll figure out, okay, in that situation, off my build, off my situation, what is a generalized response that would have made sense there? Like, if I look... So basically, look at the actual information you had in terms of raw metrics, right? So it's really easy for us to think about this means this means this means that, but try to go back to fundamentals, right? So what do I mean by that? Like worker count, building count, building count, basically a classic one is always the greed versus aggression dichotomy, right? And then from that we can draw a rough response that covers most options. So for instance, right, maybe a build doesn't make sense, but we can still look at it in terms of generalities, right? So this is going to be much easier. Can you think of a specific example of where you've fucked up in this way, like what you described there, where you weren't thinking about what they were doing? What any sort of attack that kills you, like what sort of thing that goes wrong? Like how does this lose you a game? Give us a specific in-game scenario.
The most simple one I can think of is that there was a Nidus Worm that my adept scouted, but I didn't click it because it was building and I didn't click it, and I just like kept doing my build. It was clearly an all-in, if I were paying attention.
Right. You were just kind of, you had your adept boner. You're like, I'm killing drones. Doop de doop de doop. I got to do the next part of my build. I'm not thinking about what I'm actually looking at here. Okay, cool.
I think, would you say that a good rule is just to always click buildings if they're building? Because I think that's what I decided after that game.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. I've scouted Terran players and I've been like, cool, there's his 2 extra barracks. And then it turned out there were 2 factories. And I was like, wait, what? This guy's coming out with mech and I'm so confused. I'm like, oh, I'm such a fucking dummy. I scouted those factories building like 20 seconds in. I didn't fucking, or 10 seconds in before it really looks like a factory. And I didn't click on it. I'm like, idiot. As a general rule, we should always click on it. It's also something where that's very easy with adept scouts for people to get lazy with. I think with like adept harassment and stuff, especially against Zerg players, like that's very specific. Is we should be looking at, hey, wait, what does this look like, right? Are there workers missing? Are there these sort of things? So we should definitely remember that every pressure is also scouting, right? So usually it means reminding yourself, going back and looking at the fundamentals of like, wait, what are the things that could kill me in a game at this point? Oh yeah, fuck, I forgot, like my Archon drop or my Oracle going back in for the 4th time on that mineral line, that's not just looking for worker kills, that's also looking for what they're building as well. How many queens does this guy have? Or what exactly is happening? So, I mean, that's one of those things where you're just asleep at the helm, right? If you're not clicking on a Nidus Worm, that's like a real specific thing where you're just like not doing shit you should do every time, right? So that's one, you go back, you look at that, you say, well, I should always be clicking on that. Against a Zerg player, 100%. It's so important, right? But I would guarantee that if you look back at that game, there's also workers missing or something else. Unless it was one of these weird semi-committed Nidus Worms where they still have a big economy. They're just cutting like upgrades and like the next tech tree. And they're just kind of like, oh, there's one gas that I'm not actually mining from. I pulled workers off after you scouted these 2 gases or this gas for the hallucination, and now I'm Nidus roaching you. Unless it's that, you probably had other tells in that game as well. So I think it would be important to look back at those and be like, oh, I screwed this up. So I think that's one of those questions where you want to break that down situation by situation, but usually there would be some more general tells in most of those games where you should have already been on alert, right? You should have already been more focused. So if we see any of those, we'll go back to them, but I guess we should move on now. And then we can talk about PvP a bit later.
Okay.
You have caps lock as a free hotkey?
Yeah, that was just a comment.
Yep. Have you used it for anything yet?
No.
Did you have a dumping key? Did we set one up?
Yeah, I have a dumping key.
What are you using for it?
4.
4. Cool. Okay. So you just tap 4, and you're not really selecting off number 4. You just bam
Yeah.
to throw units out. Yeah, I mean, I like. Do you control group your drop defense like PvT? If you have 4 stalkers in your main right now, would they get a control group?
Yeah, they'd go on 2.
They'd go on 2.
Mineral field depleted.
We've got 7 stalkers, but they're in our army. Right. So if we had them on 2, and we had stalkers in our army, the stalkers in our army would just be on control group 1, right?
Wait, what?
So if like right now, you've got these stalkers in your main army, and they're also in a different control group just to help you with blink forward and focus fire micro, right? It's also so you can quickly split them off and go run forward, pick off some units, force a stim. But if you also had 5 stalkers in your main base,
Yeah.
how do you reorganize?
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how they ended up on 2. Normally, I actually just control click the stalkers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe well, they probably were on drop defense earlier, and now they've rotated back into your army, so they're still. It's just like a legacy hotkey. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. What's your Oracle hotkey again?
Q?
What's your Prism hotkey again?
Complete.
Y?
Q, Y, bam, bam. Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those things. If you've got Disruptors as well as High Templar, you might want to use it. Or if you want to control group a Zealot run by or something like that, you can use it. But I think for now, you're pretty well set up. So if you find something, use it. But otherwise, we don't need to think about it too much. Mouse boxing from multiple corners. This is such a niche thing. I don't think it's a super important focus for you. I think it will do a small amount of help in some scenarios, but I'm not going to push that right now. I think don't worry about it too much, all right?
Okay.
I need to do more testing of that and stuff to really remember how helpful that is. It's something which, I learnt in my formative stages, right? Whereas you're a much more established player. So actually working that into your core mechanics is a bit of a crazy task. It's going to be very hard to actually get your muscle memory to retrain because you've got such deep layers of muscle memory. That shit's deep in your brain. You think you're not good at prepping for your opponents. Oh, okay. That's a good one we can talk about. And if you play a bunch of games in a row, then watch replays, play a game, then watch your replay and play the next game. That's a good question. So we might as well answer that really quickly, and then we can just talk replays. All right. So basically, I think we want to get better at recognizing when you're shit at a matchup, or a nemesis keeps beating you or something. It's just doing stuff to where it feels you're playing wrong, right? You're playing wrong, right? Spend 2 to 3 days just watching VODs and writing notes and thinking deeply about the matchup. Now that's something Snoot used to be a big fan of. Maybe it's just one day doing it. It's you just watch every VOD from Korea, all the VODs from the last few months, or even 6 months in Europe, in like say PvZ, and he'd just think about it. And he'd think about the concepts, and he'd be like, obviously this is not when there's a deadline right in front of him, but he would just really be like, I need to, my understanding is shit. I'm not good at this matchup. I got to figure some shit out. And I think that's something, so whenever you get to that point, you want to go for those deep dives. In general, you want to balance, right? Watching any replay that leaves you muddled or feeling helpless immediately is really good, right? If there's any doubt about what the fuck immediately. However, if you really just need to warm up and get your rhythm going, just keep grinding games. Only use rewind to quickly check the game state at the end. So those games where you really like a good little exercise actually. Choose a point in the game and guess your opponent's situation. So usually you'll have an idea. You'll be like, oh, this Zerg hit me off 55 drones with that Roach Ravager timing on my third. Okay? And then check. Cross-check that. with what happened. So that's like a really high, like low effort. Literally, you rewind, you check that point of the game, takes you 30 seconds, bam, leave the replay. But it just makes sure you have good understanding of what your opponents are doing. Right? You were talking earlier as well about, I mean, there was that question with like, okay, the Nidus one wasn't clicked on, or there's times where we're just not paying attention to where our opponent is in the game. That's a good exercise for that. Because what it does is immediately says, hey, number one, was I even thinking about what my opponent's doing? Number two, how close was my assumptions to the reality? Because even pros often, you know, everyone loses track of where they are in the game. You know, Neeb will be like, oh, I thought he was doing this, but he was actually doing this. So I got really lucky that this thing worked out because it was actually the wrong thing to do. When I watched the replay, I realized I fucked that up. So I think that is like the super good habit you should do almost always. But if you're like, I just need to get in my rhythm, I just need to grind, we need to get the momentum going. You know those days where I just need to get everything to work together. Let's just more games. Sometimes you just want to queue games back to back. We don't want to like interrupt that rhythm to the point where like, no, I need to learn something every single game. Sometimes it is just about getting our hands warmed up and in tune with our mind and letting that muscle memory do the work. So don't feel like you need to analyze every single replay, but whenever you're hitting a point where you feel helpless or you're unsure of what happened, or if you find your assumptions doing that little test, which I'd love you to do almost every ladder game, do that little... Did I think he went 5 barracks before 3rd command center? Because that felt like a really strong timing. Or was it just 3 racks, but it hit harder? If so, I think it's because of this thing. And then you just quickly check that thing. And you see if you're right or wrong. So it's just a good little way to quiz your game sense in-game from tracking where your opponent is to the reality of where your opponent was. And it forces you to understand your opponent's builds a lot better as well. So you can start to get in your opponent's mindset so much better when you actually look at everything in context. So I think always do a quick rewind, but only do big replay ladder watching sessions if there's a good reason to. So... Okay. Maybe once a week is just a good habit to do that, because there's always one matchup that's lagging behind or something's changed that's confusing. So you could schedule that in if that works for you. What do you reckon? Do you reckon you'd schedule it in, or you'd just wait until you feel a bit confused about something and then you do it?
The big session?
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be 2 or 3 days. It could just be watching 5-10 replays in a row and really analyzing a certain matchup for yourself.
Right now, I kind of just do it whenever I feel like my play is at a standstill, or I don't really know what I should be working on. So like a no set amount of time, but just by feeling.
Right. I mean, that could be something, where you kind of just go through and analyze the meta a little bit from your opponent's points of view. You go, okay, all Terrans are doing this. And you just start looking through for those little edges. All Zergs are doing this new thing. And you start looking for little habits and little edges, right? It's the stuff which is probably 95% of like Hass's practice from the way he plays, right? Because he always knows the corner cutting he can get away with. Like, he's so greedy at the start of the game a lot of the time, and he gets away with it because he's like, oh, no one's like, everyone assumes no one would be crazy enough to do this one thing, so I'll do that every game and get away with it every game. And this is why I beat people in macro games despite being, mechanically Masters 2? Like, yeah, maybe. Like, I don't even know if Masters 2. It's kind of mean to Masters 2 players, to be honest. Like, we've seen Hass's macro sometimes just be so bad, right? If he doesn't have, like, a strategic edge that he's working around, he gets really confused whenever the game settles down into a holding pattern, right? But goddamn does he know how to cut a corner or to do some abusive little timing that hits just a bit faster than most people do, right? So... That's the sort of thing where it's like, hey, macro players should be doing a little bit of analysis like that. It doesn't have to be as cheesy as what he does, but I mean, if you haven't been doing any deep replay and analytical session, just grinding games, I mean, you're full time at the moment, so you can probably say 1 day a week can be replay analysis, can be digging deep for tiny edges and reworking, understanding of matchups. And a few tools we can do for that. Analyze meta of opponent's race. Brainstorm weird shit ideas. Really, try to break out of the mentality of assuming oh, I just do this and they just do this, right? That's what pro gamers always get into. That's the meta, man. Don't let the meta constrain your thinking. So instead, you should be like, no, 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 no. You know, go back to fundamentals and try to frame what's happening in these games in a different way. In a different way, right? Always going back to fundamentals is one of the important things, right? You know, thinking about, well, this is a short-term strategy because my opponent's going, you know, more barracks rather than more command centers, or they're only going single engineering bay, therefore it's a shorter-term strategy. And you kind of start to line up all those metrics and come to fundamental understandings and make sure we're looking at the game that way. Because the moment we stop doing that, we make Artosis very angry when he's commentating our games. And, you know, we attack when we should be defending and we defend when we should be attacking because we're so caught up in the meta and what we're meant to normally do that we're not thinking about fundamentals. So anyways, let's talk about this series, this game.
Yeah.
So any way you want to direct us to, biggest problems? I'm going to look at what you wrote up above. Is this Dream 5 or Dream 6?
This is 5.
You executed cleanly. Yep.
Yeah. I liked both these games because I actually, while I was playing them, and when I watched the replay, I'm like, oh, I played that well, but I just lost, you know? So I think it's a good replay to analyze for that reason.
At actual good levels of play, how is like 4 gas, 4 or 5 sentries, 2 or 3 immortals before going up to Storm? Is that like, you know, is that actually a playable style in this matchup, or do you really need to get the splash damage out?
I think it's playable, but I'm not sure if it's best. It's definitely playable. If the game tends to go in the direction where both players are trading a lot, you can pick up a lot later, because Protoss armies without splash do okay until the army supplies get kind of high, I think.
Yeah. I mean, force fields are so powerful, right? Once you get a few immortals in there with sentries and guardian shield, it's like it's actually incredibly powerful as an army. Okay, so you were saying here as well, you know, you don't think 3 gases is powerful, like, you know, yeah. So this is, yeah. Faster to Colossus or Storm. Okay, cool. We did lose a probe unnecessarily, and let's put this in the context of the fact that Dream is a god at TVP and is apparently, you know, I don't watch Holy Moly and stuff, but Artosis is like, oh, he's killed every good Protoss every game for like the last 6 months or 3 months or something. Like he's dominating Protoss in this matchup in Korea. So this is, you know, this is the cream of the crop of TVP right here. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of just tiny edges he's taking as a player. So looking at this looked like a pretty friggin' standard build from him, right? This looks like the cookie cutter TVZ, 2nd and 3rd barracks, eBay, 3rd gas. Has Marines in the mineral line, has Marines in the main, comes in for the Widowmine drop, and we've done the Sentry Blink Expand, which is, of course, good because it allows us to scout, but it is a little more vulnerable to the Widowmine drop, right? Because your blink is just so much later with this build. Was your blink delayed this game, by the way? Let's take a quick look at that. I think you went for it on time. Twilight was maybe slightly late there.
Yeah, sometimes it's slightly late if I'm dealing with the Reaper. Just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, so this is the weakness of this build, right? This hallucination version is your blink's not ready for this timing. I mean, it never is as it comes in, but it can be ready at like 440, right? If you go straight blink, like the old school blink build. And that means the Medevac's doing a one-way trip only. Like, it's not going to get the Widowmines out of there, right? We'll check the timing. I don't think it'll get out if you had 440 blink. I'm not saying we should do that. I just want to think about this in the context of the build options that are available. Yeah, I mean, blink could be almost ready. I mean, your blink is almost ready. You chrono it like a mother trucker with this build. As you should, making up for the fact that it's a little later. So we lose them.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I thought the opening actually went fine for me. Like, this part. I play, when I was playing this game, I play really greedy with the blink build, so I actually take the 3rd base before the Robo and the 3rd gas. I think it's really powerful if your opponent's not all-inning you or something.
Yeah, if you have the third Nexus finishing... I mean, it's also something where, like, if someone's doing Hellion pressure and you get that third Nexus started before they, like, get over there kind of thing, like, if they can't deny the third Nexus starting, like, you can Chrono Probes like a motherfucker, right? So let's look... Okay, so, yeah, 2-gate. I like that you wall that side. This map is so annoying with the Reaper having so many pods in. Because it can jump there, it can jump there. Here's the front.
Yeah.
If it gets in the front, it can jump there, and it can go there. Okay, yeah, 2-gate. Okay, so it's 2-gate Nexus, Stalker, Sentry. Okay, cool. So he does a good job of moving a Widow Mine into the middle of the map, which I really like. So something I've been doing in my pleb games is I like to run my first Stalker across as the other Stalker comes out and try to intercept the drop on the map. And you kind of end up doing that chasing the Reaper here. But it's a little bit too late. We're to the point where we probably shouldn't have been out there at all, right? Or I guess because you wanted to chase the Reaper, and this stops him turning around. Okay.
Yeah, I think that Stalker put in some work, actually.
Yeah. And then you've got 3 Stalkers and a Sentry, and then you get 2 Stalkers warped in just before this comes in. And then we get a really fast 4-minute 40 double forge. Oof, beautiful, very crisp. And the thing is, this is the double forge style. As you said, the 3-gas style. It's still a good opening for you. I'm just hunting for details here.
Right.
We're just hunting for details. Straight into a very quick charge. Okay, yeah. I mean, that's something I'm always... I think you should always just go charge straight away. I've always wondered, like, if there's, like, a tell where you're like, well, actually, you usually don't need charge when it's finished here, right? It's just dangerous if your opponent's doing some weird shit, right? Not having charge, even 20 seconds late, ruins you. But... yeah, I mean, he's already moving out. Charge is just finished. Let's keep charge where it is. Let's not gamble with delaying that. So we got double forge. We've got up to 7 gateways.
Oh, is that only 7? Yeah, okay, that's a mistake.
Yeah, definitely. I mean...
a small mistake.
You've gone 4 sentries here. And an immortal. Cannon and a battery. What's the plan here? Are you just trying to slow him down, or are you actually going to take this engage?
I just need to hold since I think... what's my worker count right now?
57. Fully saturated, third mineral line, 3 gas.
I definitely just need to hold somewhat cleanly, and I think I'm slightly ahead.
What do you think about... Ooh. Yeah, I mean, we definitely should have 8 gateways, right? That's big. Do you ever go higher than 8? Or is it always 8 here?
It's 8.
Always 8, okay.
It's 8 and ideally non-stop robo production.
Losing your sentries is what really kicks you in the dick there. It really is, though. That they give you so much longevity, right? So that should have just been a pullback, right? So walk me through, what could you have done better with this fight? Besides having 1 extra gateway, I feel like you could have pulled back and bought a bit more time, right?
Let's see.
Wait. We engaged before that. That was the second engage. I think. So pretty sure there was a first engage. I don't think we used our force fields very well. I'm also not sure if warping in this many sentries at this moment... I mean, it's good. It gives the danger of the force fields. But it is quite late. Yeah, I think we can probably get sentries earlier. I think 1 more wave of force fields... If you have 2 or 3 more force fields here, this becomes so much easier for you. To dice this army up a little bit at a time, right?
This is kind of a shit map for holding the sentries, actually.
It's a terrible map for sentries. It's so bad.
Oh, speaking of which, speaking of cannon and shield battery placement, what do you think about that? Because that's kind of getting in the way of my concave again, even now. Just a little bit.
That's true. I mean, your zealots don't really need to be in a concave, though, do they? They can just pull into the mineral line, right? You almost want them further back.
Did I use a guardian shield that fight?
Good question. I'm gonna bet.
If I didn't
no.
use a Guardian Shield, that's a huge mistake. I did. Okay, I used one.
Yeah,
But I
use
don't have a
one,
second one.
but you
I'm
don't
out.
have a second one, and it just runs out.
Hmm.
Guardian Shield's only 11 seconds? Damn, I thought it was longer.
Yeah, so normally when I micro this is like a super important moment because this happens like a lot in Protoss vs Terran where you have to hold it with your kind of shitty gateway army.
Yeah.
So I usually just try to pull the Zealots back as they get too far away, and Guardian Shield and Force Field. That's basically my mindset. But
So let's just imagine we're still using force fields here. Could we have pushed further forward? No, I don't think we should have. That would have been crazy. Decent force fields, not amazing. I think the first Guardian Shield was actually completely unnecessary. I think they will very rarely commit to that fight. Basically, I feel like the first engage is always the Terran baits the force fields, disengages, and then comes back in for the real fight. What do you think?
yeah, that Guardian Shield might have been unnecessary. Do you think those Force Fields weren't very good either?
You definitely only needed 2 there. Yeah, 2 force fields would have done it. We could have sliced him.
Can you go back again? I wonder if I just unhotkey 1 sentry to save the Guardian Shield, and just have 3 sentries hotkeyed for the first battle.
Alright,
Just
dehotkey
this
1
through.
sentry to save Guardian Shield.
Do you think that's a good
Better
idea?
force field. Don't Guardian Shield until he's fully committed. Which is fucking hard, because Stem Bio can YOLO pretty hard. But I think... I reckon this is a pattern. Like, I know from my games, I'm a pleb, but I do watch a lot of TVP, so yours included. I imagine this probably happens a fair bit. We'll keep an eye on it, but I think that might be an option. The other option is getting a sentry earlier, just to have a bit more energy. So
Did I really? Yeah, go ahead.
we've got 1 sentry here. It does another hallucination, which is important because your robo's late. You need to do that, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we can take that away, but we go 1-1, we go charge, we go observer. We're going to queue up an immortal immediately after that with our next little batch of money. Let's take a look at this. How many observers do you tend to go for, by the way? Just 2?
With the sentry opener, I think I do 2 or... I'm not sure. Do I do 2 or 3? I want to say 2.
Because we kind of want to do the exact same every game there, right? Because this is such a common defense. This is like every TVP.
Yeah.
The Terran comes over and checks you and make sure you're not being too greedy. And if you are a little bit sloppy, a bit too much worse than them, they just win the game. So it looks like 2 into an immortal.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got gas here. We got gas. So where's those sentry warp-ins, right?
How long do I wait? Oh, I warp in. Why did I warp in?
And then you
Zealots?
warp in 3 zealots.
Oh no.
That's a big fuck up, boy.
That is actually, yeah.
That's
All right,
huge.
You got me. You got me.
Well, that's really good, isn't it? Good because we're obsessing over the tiniest details, and then you're like, oh, I could have had a lot more energy. Like that's really nice, right? That's always awesome. Oh, I always dig for the tiniest little details, and then you find something obvious like that. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to give us an even bigger boost.
Upgrade complete.
So, trigger for the sentry warp in.
I wonder if that's a habit or if that just happened this game. I'll have to look at it another game or 2.
I don't think it would be every game, but yeah, definitely might be, especially with the double forge style. We get like, I just got to build zealots. Zealots are what wins the game. I got double upgrades.
Yeah. That'll make it easier to get the extra gateways too.
Yeah. More minerals. Yeah. Because yeah, we could have gone an extra gateway easily. Extra gateway. Obviously, the pylons pick up after the gateways go down. Just for the newbies watching. Always, when you go up to 8 gateways, you build 5, 6 gateways at once. You fucking drop a bunch of pylons.
Complete.
Notice Astrea's building them 2 at a time. You plebs should build 6 all at once. Make sure you don't get blocked. Okay, cool. What's the trigger for these warp-ins, by the way? Because you're pausing warp-ins before that, right? If we just put yourself in your mindset here, what are you thinking about at this point? Because I'm pretty sure we've got 2 gateways ready to warp in for a long time here. Let's take a look. Is it just kind of after you drop all your gateways?
Yeah. That's when you start warping.
Okay.
But honestly, I could squeeze in the sentries while I'm building the gateways too, because it's
Okay.
only 50 minerals.
Yeah. Warp in 3 sentries whilst.
Whilst.
I don't know what I'm doing. My brain is good. Warp in 3 sentries while making gateways. 3 sentries is 150 minerals. It'll delay 1 gateway. Yeah! That's fucking nothing. That's nothing. Awesome, man.
Yeah, I might even be able to get away with 3 instead of 4 sentries. I'm not sure.
You may. I've been playing, like, trying to play, like, 5 and 6 sentry with 4 gases, and then just go up to, like, Storm and Archons off it, and build Immortals earlier. Which is really nice when you suck at force fielding because you have twice as much energy, but it's very expensive, and I wouldn't recommend it with a double forge style where you want to be getting those zealots up. But it's nice. Definitely, I think I think stick with 4 for now because they're really good. But yeah, the dehotkeying a sentry to save Guardian Shield. I mean, if you find that works, go for it. My inclination would be I would just be more stringent. I would be like, no. I'm allowed to do 3 force fields in this first fight, and that's it. Or like whatever the number ends up being once we get this sentry countdown. I'd be like, it's always 3 force fields and then have a Guardian Shield. Just because having a separate unit dehotkeyed sounds weird to me.
Yeah.
But maybe it works. Maybe it works out nicely. But yeah, imagine if we had another row of force fields here. All these 35 energy sentries. Imagine if you trap those there in range of the cannon and like a few zealots came forward, and then you pull the sentries back to the rear. Because when your sentries survive like this, it's just like it's so much more threatening for the rest of the game. It's awesome. Cool,
Yeah,
man.
all things considered, that fight didn't even go that badly for me. Like, I'm still in the game, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. With your 900 minerals on 7 gates, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Free.
By the way, how was my robo production this game? Was it nonstop? Could I have had 2 immortals for that fight?
Oh no, yeah. You could have, yes.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. But your minerals, it slows your gateways down. There's a choice, right? If you want to go immortal production as quickly as possible, especially if you're chronoing those observers, they're expensive as all shit. Each one's almost 2 gateways. So if you start chronoing immortals, I think the second one would rally in during the fight. Let's take a look. We see there's a slight downtime before the second observer, a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Let's go. Second observer
Also,
pops, and then we have about 30 seconds downtime, I think.
Yeah, I'm waiting to get my gateways up, right?
Yeah, you want to start your
And then
gateways, and then you start immortals.
I always chrono boost my forges, but would it be worth it to chrono boost the robo instead? This whole game is just forge.
That's a good point. I do like one or 2 chronos on the robo, especially like prioritize armor upgrade over attack, right? Though, if you're focusing more on immortals and sentries, arguably attack is very important still. I don't really know the maths on that. I feel like armor's always really good. But anyway, robo starts immortals after we drop gates. Should we speed up 1 immortal and delay gates? So what does having 2 immortals gives us? That gives us more firepower to fuck them with the force fields. Right? I feel like you trap a couple of marauders especially, and it's just like having a second immortal just obliterates them, right? Gives you a bit more range firepower. It's nice. You'll have a few less zealots. Your zealots will be a little later. Your +1 attack might be a bit later as well. At the moment, you're really focused on having both upgrades finished during this fight. I think we can definitely chrono an immortal and get it out in time. I don't think we want to delay the gateways, probably.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think it's very important to get them. So I think as long as, maybe we squeeze a chrono onto them. Maybe we just do it the same way. I think with the double upgrade style, I think it's more important to get your production up, get the right unit count out, more than anything. And the upgrades become very vital just with the style you're playing. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't think we want to focus too hard on the immortals. The second immortal rallies out during the fight anyway, so you should be okay.
That field's been mine.
I think I can just based on my observers and maybe stalker poking, determine whether or not 1-1 will finish in time and choose in the
That
game.
mineral field's gone.
Yeah.
Looks like we're going
Have
the
to
lake.
still get 1-1. Okay, so yeah. Maybe Chrono Immortal. They need to be sure 1-1 will still be ready in time. Based off Stalker pokes.
Right, that 1-1 is most important.
Yeah. So from here, we are playing a low observer style on a rather wild map. Thankfully, we're plugging the gaps with these pylons on the edges, which are also going to give us those beautiful warp in points. Super awesome to see that. Your prism's being a dick, which is nice. We like that. We want to be annoying. And then,
Evil.
yeah. Well, turns out he was being a pussy. Pussies fuck dicks. Anyways, yeah. We're on a pretty low work account during this.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
I should have been probing, I'm pretty sure. But I'll tell you my mindset, like right now, the way I think about it is, if we end up trading a lot, like we did this game, I'll just drop a 4th Nexus before extra gases. And if we don't end up trading for whatever reason, I'll drop gases 4 and 5 quicker and drop a really fast faster Templar Archives.
Cool. And you go straight Storm Drop usually off this?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think Storm Drop's still really good. But
yeah, I
So,
think
yeah.
probing here, right? I don't know where the probes are.
Yeah.
Where are the probes?
I mean, that's how we abuse being Protoss at this point, right? We want to. I mean, if we go up to, do you go 5 gas Storm or do you kind of add a 6th gas as you're making Storm?
I had a 6 gas at some point.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't really know when exactly. It's just like you get it at some point.
Well, for you, I feel like in this scenario, you'd normally go up to 80 probes from this point. That's like your style would be about 80 probes if you're going Storm Drop. So you'd want to basically have 4 bases more or less fully saturated. Of course, that's including 8 workers from your main being on your 4th base. It's about 80 workers, right? Because it's 66 for 3 base, plus 6 for gases, 72, plus 8 for minerals on the 4th. That's 80 workers. So high 70s is fine. You don't need to go quite there, obviously. Even if you're at 73, 75, you know, a half saturated mineral line on the 4th, you're still in a good spot, right? You're still doing okay. Yeah. But it's just, you know, that's like this real flexible thing based on what you feel you can get away with in the game.
You know, I think this is actually my biggest mistake in this game. I didn't realize I wasn't probing at all. That's really bad.
Yeah.
I'm only at 64.
Yeah. I mean, with the style you're playing with the delayed gases, right? We should have gone 10 more probes or about 8 more probes on that 4th.
Yeah.
And we should be going up to like 12 gates and drowning him in zealots. And you're going up to 10 gates now, or 9 gates only, because we were 1 down the whole time.
Yeah. I never realized that.
Ooh. You know, you can tell I exaggerate because I'm a noob. Like I go 12 gates here. For you, it's 10 gates, right? Non-stop zealot production. But that's
actually really bad.
It's very bad. And then you decide to go Colossus. But you like start your Colossus tech and you haven't started the gases. Those should be chained together, surely. It's kind of like gases and Templar Archives, or gases and Robo Bay, right? Whoa, I think you cut out. You still there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're
I just
back.
didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it picked up you breathing or something. I heard like a slight sound. It's like, I was like, what the fuck is that? Pig's asking me question. The stream might think I'm bad.
Okay, when I play like this, another thing I try to do is hit a 2-2 timing, because I guess my thought process is just like, why not? But this game, I just felt like I couldn't push in at all.
Yeah.
Like I feel like 2-2 timings sometimes feel really good, and they kind of just kill the Terran.
Yeah.
This game, he kind of dicked on me.
Arnak, don't neg in chat, man. I know you dislike TVP. It's a hard matchup. But if you actually off-race a lot as Protoss and Zerg, you'll know that no Protoss or Zerg player has builds that are as set in stone as Terran. Terran is the inflexible race, unfortunately. He was making fun of you saying you don't know your build order, and that's why Protoss players don't know their builds. And I'm like, it's very different. As someone who plays all 3 races, like I've spent yesterday relearning my Terran builds, and there are so many tiny little exact things that I want to happen the exact same way every single game. And that's just not the same with Zerg and Protoss. It's so much more about like the little reactions, you know, in certain situations. There are still details, but it's a bit different. It's a bit different. And don't get me wrong, you can argue the harder or the easier race, but have a bit of respect for the awesome pro player that is Astrea. You know, don't do a fucking fire cake and be like, Protoss players are so fucking bad. I don't know if you remember that, man. He was like, Protoss players are so bad. This is fire cake. Jesus fucking Christ. Most terrible human of all time. And he was like, I'm gonna get GM in 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna become like top pro with Protoss. And like a month in, he was like Masters 3 or something, because he like was such a weirdo player. He couldn't get through on mechanics. Any other pro could get GM in a month of playing Protoss easily. But I think he stopped at Masters something. It was like, oh yeah, it's actually harder than I thought. Like every race is different. Every race has their own strengths and weaknesses. And I'm actually, you know, all campaigning at the moment for like Terran being a little bit too hard, and any quality of life we could do to make Terran a little bit friendlier and a bit less punishing. I don't know, fucking auto drop mules or some shit would be great. But let's not shit on other players. We all love this game. We all play at a high level. So let's kick some ass. So anyways, back to this game. So yeah, we should be probing up pretty hard. Imagine we are probing up at that stage. How quickly do we make the transition with a double forge style? I feel like, for me, I would say I always want to go splash damage before 3-3. What do you think about that?
My general rule is that like the more the armies are getting traded, the later I can delay the splash, and then I just kind of play by feel.
Okay. Later splash based on army trades, which makes sense. So obviously the big mistake this game, right? Big mistake was not probing after early skirmish. Early hold could have been cleaner as well. But what we got to focus on here. Yeah, I mean, okay. So you were kind of like basically just lower on zealots than you should have been, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So we're gonna try to bait out a few winter mines. Nice little force field there, but we get those immortals and sentries kind of caught a little bit. He starts rotating to the right just a bit, and this is an awkward position. I mean, we're sending zealot run bys in, which is great. That's doing big damage. I feel like you can kind of hold that ramp forever as long as you're patient, right? It's an awkward position, but you can hold that ramp on the left really easily, especially if you just keep making a single sentry. Like you can always just warp in another sentry and force field it. Then he gets EMPs all over your army, and you're in an awkward position. And holy shit, man. That's so many EMPs. Like, he just EMP'd every unit. Oof.
The fight was still really close, actually.
Yeah.
I needed more zealot. I needed better macro.
Yeah, you actually did just need more zealots there, right? Because if you rolled that and defended this base, I mean, we'd be like, gas. Chrono Colossus like crazy, get a second robo immediately, right? If we held that, or would you just keep warping in zealots and just go, like, get across the map and just keep the aggro going? Say, hey, there's so much trading going. I'll just build Colossus one at a time off this gas count. Let's just keep making zealots, keep the chaos going, and just, you know, thrive in this stage since I don't need splash damage because we've just traded armies and I've got more economy. I know I did SCV damage on his third. I know he's on the inland 3 base, so he's kind of fucked, right? The longer this game goes. So I guess you don't really need to do that. So doing it by feel, I think, is good there. In a different game where it costs us, like, not going splash damage faster, I think we'd call it. But I think it was a completely fine way to play in this game, right? It's just the other mistakes that costed us. Jesus fucking Christ. I swear, like I'm a migrant refugee child who this is my third language or something. It costed us. Okay, come on. Seriously. Yeah, you're dead. Not really, but it's just such an awkward game. I mean, this is the one you win, right? Right? Do we win from here? You're gonna hit 3 Colossus? No, your economy's. You've still got the probes alive. We don't know where to mine from. No, we die. Especially when that prism goes down.
I have 33 versus 1-1 though.
You know, because he's going ghosts, there's an argument against it. But the longer a game stays scrappy like this, we should have had a DT shrine by this point.
Pylon under attack. Did
Right?
you orbit a backup?
Maybe.
I feel like the moment I look around my PVT game
Mineral field depleted.
and I go, well, this is a fucking mess.
Going after a pylon.
That's my trigger for building a dark shrine. I don't know about you.
Maybe.
I see a hot mess and I build a dark shrine.
Field is not
High level strategy. I'm like, well, fuck this game up. But because you're doing damage on his third
backup.
and you're keeping him down on economy, I feel like the DT shrine can be a Hail Mary because he's a tip-top player
That mineral
with good ghost count, good scans though.
It's not a bad idea.
Is it just a waste of money? I don't know.
I don't know either, honestly.
Okay, he gets us. All right, let's hop out. I think those are 2 super huge details though. For some reason, we froze up on probing for no reason. I reckon that doesn't happen if the previous fight is cleaner though. Warping in those sentries while you're making the gateways is going to be huge. Making sure we only use... Figure out your FF ration for the first fight. So how many are you allowed to use? 3 or 4? And still have Guardian Shield. And in general, don't overlap them like you did in that game. Because we had an unnecessary third force field, right? And we only caught like 6 Marines with it. It wasn't like a crazy good trap, right? If we get a few Marauders in there and stuff, it'll be really good. Hectic says don't ghosts counter DTs. It's very hard, even if you're fucking Dream, if you're a 350 APM fast Korean, like... You know, you're on 3 base. You're dropping every single thing you can into mules to keep up economically. DT start hitting your mineral line. You don't necessarily always have ghosts chilling at home, right? They're often with the army.
That must be awkward though. Like when the first time you're naked with a woman, she's like, "What? You have 2
I
belly
think the
buttons?"
force field thing was really interesting because I really need to check if that's a habit or not. I don't know why I wouldn't be building those sentries earlier.
Yeah. That's just one of those little things, right? We'll see if that's a habit or not. 75 Guardian Shield, 50 Force Field. That's right. Thank you very much, Logic Soldier, gifting a sub to Hectic. I appreciate the support, guys.
Hi, Logic Soldier.
He's a soldier. He likes logic.
Logic. He subbed to my stream the other day too.
What a legend. You know what's really funny? I always get confused because we have 2 of them. I think they're both mods. There's a guy called Logic with a K who's actually a soldier. But then I have Logic Soldier who's not actually in the army. And I always get them crossed and think they're the same people. They're both cool people, but yeah, I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? How's Darwin going? And he's like, I'm not Australian. You're American, right, Logic Soldier? I'm trying to remember. Logic, your boy, the actual soldier. Yeah, Logic got posted up to the hat of Australia as well. The smallest capital city of any state in all of Australia, which is... kind of out of the way, but at least he can still play video games up there, hang out when he can. Anyways.
I put a few comments on this replay also. In the doc.
Oh, yes. Fantastic. This is game 6?
Yeah.
So both series were 2-1 his way.
Nah, I won the first one.
Oh, you won the first one. 2-1? Damn.
Yeah.
Very nice. Pretty good early game. Solid mid game. And I don't understand what happened. Super understand. Let's be real. I want to make fun of you, but you said I don't. So basically, you're saying you don't understand all the fine intricacies of why you ended up losing. So it's a good game for us to just break down. Okay, maybe your disruptor count was a bit too high. Maybe your army count wasn't quite right. Cool. So we get to see disruptor macro game. Nice. All right. So we're doing an Oracle build this game. Oh, it's a Phoenix build. Cool. The please Widow Mine drop. Please Widow Mine drop. Come over here, buddy. Bring those Widow Mines to me.
And he did do it, but I messed up.
Yeah. You didn't really have much vision.
That must be awkward.
My Phoenix weren't
like,
patrolling.
the
They
first time
need to
you're
be
naked with a woman,
patrolling.
she's like, what? You have two belly buttons?
So I can hit either at the same time. But they were patrolling really far away.
And you're like, you shall not escape. He's like, all right, all right, all right. Oh, Phoenix Colossus, cool. I guess that's the main way you play Phoenix these days. But you do see a lot of like this 4 or 5 Phoenix and then swapping into full ground play, right? Is that your?
Yeah.
Looks like it's your
I play
jam.
That also. I play that also.
Okay.
I think it's quite powerful on Simulacrum.
I think like mass Phoenix is it's an interesting style, but it's definitely one I don't understand fully.
So here, this is why I said I thought my early game went well, right about here.
Oh fuck! Oh my god! Throw your salt down and chat if you're a Terran player. Watching that
Phoenix
fucking
OP.
hurts, man. That fucking hurts.
Protoss.
Fucking Protosh. Well, it's like I'm like so dumb when I'm playing as Phoenix as well. Like I get a Cyclone, it deflects the first like Phoenix or Oracle, and then I'm like, cool. That'll defend my main for the rest of the game. There's like 6 Phoenix flying. I'm like, 6 Phoenix beats a Cyclone? Who knew? I'm like, how did I not see this coming? Why did I have only 1 Marine supporting my Cyclone? Like, that case, he was just a few Marines short, of course. Like having just a few Marines there would have made a big diff. But Observer does see what's going on. Interestingly, it's not in pervert mode. We're not watching. Oh, because we were doing the dive on the Widow Mines. We were tunnel visioning a little bit on that.
Yeah.
Luckily, a Colossus pops right now. And a very quick Zealot warp in. So you're actually okay, I think. Good Widow Mine hits, though. On his own Medivacs. And this is... I mean, this is... What are you doing, Phoenix? Naughty! You guys could have got so many hits there.
Yeah, come on, Phoenix.
Naughty Phoenix. Alright. So we're taking a little bit more, like, distraction here than we should. And it's about to become damage. Ooh. Ooh. He's really dancing with death. This is 2017 IEM Katowice, man. No one could beat, like... I think was that the Adept Phoenix year? It was fucking Rain, right? Is Rain the guy? Rain's the crazy Terran? Sorry, not Rain. Alive. I don't know why I called him Rain. Yeah, Alive was like, well, you beat Adept Phoenix, the most mobile composition in the game, by attacking from 3 sides constantly, and the Protoss is always slightly out of position. I was like, well... Don't know how this is working so reliably, but I guess it is. Okay, like he did it against Terran as well. Dream's kind of that class of Terran in that he wants to attack, and drop, and it's very good at it. That could have been a lot cleaner. That could have been a lot cleaner, right? So let's go back to Observer placement. I think this Observer is poorly placed on the top. This Observer, I think, should be in pervert mode and should be maybe just in front of the gas. Just a bit further out. I think we could have earlier warning of something coming our way. Like, I don't think we need to be worried about something flying over this middle base. I still can't signal, but maybe you can see on the stream. Up here, I think like they're always going to be coming from the left-hand side a bit more. No one's going to be flying through the middle. So I think you could be half a screen to the left with that Observer in pervert mode. And I think you can actually see right to the edge where you are. So you could be further south a few hexes. Because if you're down like here, basically I'd probably put the Observer here in pervert mode. Maybe that's cutting it a bit close. Maybe there in pervert mode. What do you think?
I mean, there's also the possibility he drops to the right, to my natural, right? I wouldn't be ready for that either. So.
But just talking
I'm
about this
wondering-
Observer first. Let's just.
Yeah.
Do you think there?
I think my position is fine if I put it in pervert mode. Honestly, maybe like a little bit more to the left would be good, but.
What's the downside? Going further left. Do you actually think you'd miss something coming through the kind of bottom?
No. Yeah,
'Cause
a little
I
bit
think-
further left would be good. Yeah.
Yeah, I really do think like a little bit of warning time makes a huge difference. Because even if you spotted this and like insta recalled the Phoenix, it still would have been hard to stop them unloading, you know? Whereas if you get there 2 seconds earlier, like this drop just does nothing and you basically win the game right there.
I'm wondering if my Phoenix, or if I could have figured out this drop was coming though without even having the Observer there, like as a.
Your Observer on his side of the map and your Phoenix
Yeah, did I-
together.
Did I see anything? That would have told me he was dropping me.
Such a gamble moving out like this against 5 Phoenix. It's scary, man.
It's a gamble, but like it's good. You kind of have to do it sometimes.
So let's look at. Let's not cheat. Let's just watch from your vision. See some dudes in the main. Observer sets up in the natural. We're gonna kill the Reaper. We're gonna come in with another Adept on the third. We're gonna be like, all right. You got a third CC. Where's your third CC? Observer goes in, sees a lot of units. We're picking up dudes. Some Marines come to deal with us, and this is the moment where he boosted away, right? He moved. Wait,
is that?
Wait, he cleared the watchtower, and then he just picks up and boosts.
What?
Wait. Why were you not prepared for this? What the fuck? That's a pig move. You're like, no. You clear the watchtower and you go home. Like, you know that thing where it's like, there's like a 50% chance he does that, right? Maybe it's a 70 or 80% chance, but you don't fucking know, right? Like, we should have, even if it was just grabbing a probe from the third and like sending it out to check, right? Because we didn't even check the ground path. He could have stimmed into our third and ruined us.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that would have been really bad if he stimmed into that third mineral line and our units were out natural or something. Oh, man. That, yeah, okay, cool. So that was just a bit of a mistake there. Definitely needed to double check that with the Phoenix, right? So I guess a rule there is just always swing the Phoenix back whenever you're unsure if they clear your spotting units. Always swing around to double check, right? You can take your foot off the harassment for 2 seconds. Because I look at that and I say that to you just being a bit like, I gotta fuck him up. Let's keep picking up units. Let's keep picking up units. Gotta get value. Like, is that accurate? That's why I would have done what you just did. Because your Phoenix like, no. We're just gonna keep picking shit up and go back to the base. But like, you just didn't check.
Research is done.
Um,
Problem's been inbound for years. Mineral field depleted.
Yeah, checking would be nice, I guess.
Phoenix didn't check.
I also do
Army
like
went.
picking shit up though.
Too horny.
Mineral field's gone.
Contain your boner. That's the note I'm putting in your document. Contain your boner. If you want your Phoenix to keep attacking, just send a probe out. Probe to check. Like, you could have just sent the observer a bit further to the left, the probe out, just a tiny bit of awareness. And then, even then, you would have at least had your eyes on the minimap and gone, oh, he's there. And you would have been faster to react to it, and it would have been so much easier. So, like...
What was my... Yeah.
Because remember, we can watch it one more time. Because even though, obviously, it's like, oh, shit, this surprised us and stuff, we were being a bit too aggressive. You could have been overly aggressive better, right? You could have been overly aggressive with your Phoenix, still be obsessed with staying on the side of the map. I mean, you even saw a few Marines kind of rally out there, which, like, almost looks like a rally. Yeah, so a little bit sloppy. And we want to bring the observer.
What was my camera on during that whole sequence?
Oh, you're just picking up the Widow Mine. So you go back to macro, because you've just told the observer to move over, and then you go back and you're like, cool, and let's kill these Widow Mines. Because you saw those Widow Mines move up and burrow, so you were just a bit tunnel visioned on that. And then you're like, cool, grab another Phoenix, add it to the control group. Oh, fuck, he's in my main base. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder, like,
yeah.
what was happening in my brain, though, that I just didn't process that 2 medevacs were probably coming to drop me?
They're attacking your probe. Watch your mineral line.
It's definitely one where it would be good to look at it fresh, when you remember exactly what the fuck you were doing at that point. But that's cool.
Yeah.
So anyways, this one, okay, it gets a little bit scrappy. We've got double forge, but the upgrades are hugely delayed. YOLO's on our Colossus a little bit. It's a little bit scrappier than we'd like. 1-1 still has not started. There we go. We finally clean all this shit up. Do you
Probably
believe...
could have started sooner.
Do you believe in spotting pylons when you're playing this style, or do you think,
I like the spotting pylons.
because maybe spotting pylons covering the side of the map? You're very Colossus focused. As good as Phoenix are, a spotting pylon on the bottom right would be really good to at least see something coming towards your natural, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so you're going up, you're teching up. We're building Colossus. We're making double upgrades. Sorry, let's get to the point where I'm talking about the game past this whole series of actions. You're teching up. You're going to go 1-1. How many gateways we got? 5 gateways. 1-1 starts up. Gas is on the 3rd. 4th base goes down first. Blink starts. We've already got charge. We're going up to 8 gateways. We're probing. We're taking a second robo. We're going into disruptors. We are floating a little bit here. We're a bit slow to go into the gases on the third.
I
Once
don't
you-
think I ever take them. Like if,
Oh, you don't need it with this style?
I mean, you can take them.
And you can do a lot with lots of. If you're doing lots of zealot run bys, you're not going crazy heavy on the stalkers. Yeah, you can do okay. You got 2 Colossus anchoring. You've still got a few Phoenix, which are obviously just relegated to drop duty at this point. They're on 0. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I do want that. I think I do want gases 3 and 4 though, because
Well, you have no transition otherwise, right?
I was gonna say that I either should be doing that or taking a really fast fist base, because 70 workers just isn't that good. I think that's all I can mine if I'm not taking more than 4 gases. So I need a 5th base or I need gases.
That's kind of cool, actually. The idea of doing like a 4 gas
Uh-huh.
5th base with like 10 workers on the 5th. That's kind of cool. But you just go ham on zealot run bys. Yeah, like you'd be doing
Actually,
big
I do
gateway
that. Look, I took a
weapons.
5th. Well, I think it's really late though to do that.
Yeah, it is a little late for that. Okay. So yeah, we needed to choose a direction there. I mean,
Yeah.
some people like to go Tempests to add on to the Stalker Disruptor just to pick at their opponent. I think that's kind of outdated. I think you don't want to go there until much later in the game, and that's only in response to kind of range libs. I mean, he's already gone like 12 Vikings here because he's thinking, you know, Colossus, maybe more Tempest, etc. Storm can be really fucking nice, right, as well, for helping you deal with stuff, but it's mostly about trying to get that forward aggressive positioning going.
You know, I think my biggest mistake is probably my probe count again. Like, how long have I been on 70? It's really bad.
Yeah.
Once again.
Yeah, now we march forward with balls, but oh shit. We got caught out of position. We got a recall. We do a good little recall. We really should jump on that planetary. Ah, it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I think so.
'Cause he does not wall off against zealot run bys. And he also doesn't really expand very quickly. Right? As a player, Dream seems like one of these players who's definitely, if we got a bit more of an economy, yeah, we might be able to drown him. Oof. All right, Disruptor, it's all on you, buddy. It's all on you. You got to kill everything. Literally everything. Go! And he EMPs it and clicks on it. Good micro, man. Good micro. Yeah, okay. So probe count seems to be a big thing. I mean, what do you want to do as your baseline, though? You know, this was a kind of... You're going to often have a calm game like this. If you're going Phoenix into Colossus, like, you're often going to have a game where it sits back for a lot longer. So, you know, you're usually going to have the same scenario, even though he went quite aggressive earlier. It's still going to settle down. So do we want to go 5th and 6th gases and add in, I don't know, fucking Archons or something to this unit comp, or Storm? Or do we want to just get that 5th base up real quick, really play the movement focused style? What do we want to do here?
I think gas 5 and 6 is the way to go. And maybe 7 and 8, I'm not sure. Maybe I have too many Archons then.
Need to
then,
go up to 6, maybe eventually 8 gases.
And delayed... A Storm eventually, but like, that can be pretty delayed. Like, I don't need it for the first big fight. The Disruptors will be like the first fight, and then Storm will be kind of helpful after, I think.
Yeah, and if they're not playing Ghosts, sometimes, you know, if you're going Disruptors, people won't have Ghosts, right? Like, they won't replace them. Suddenly, you know, doing, make a bunch of Archons can actually be massively useful, right? Archons are actually a great unit if your opponent doesn't have EMP, so just having that open is a nice little addition. So 80 probes, Storm added in. If you did that, I guess the 5th base timing here would have been fine for that.
Yeah.
And then it's just a mixture of Zealot backstabs, Blinkstalker Disruptor looking to roam the map, create aggressive forward positioning where we can slowly drop balls on him. Your Disruptor count's actually too low. Now, you've killed the Vikings, so you're rebuilding Colossus. Obviously, that's the right call. That's great. But your economy is just shit now. So, yeah. Ideally, I feel like we'd rebuild 3 Colossus, and then we'd go back into Mass Disruptor. What do you think?
Here? I think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure whether I like 8 disruptors. I was kind of wondering about that.
I think you
Maybe
need
should-
I think you need at least 6 or 7 if you're playing this style. Personally,
6 or 7.
yeah. I mean that's
Like,
yeah. A lot of people go up to like 10, right? Like
Can we go
stats and
back
stuff.
to I don't
previous-
think Stats ever did it. I think Trap is the one who does this, but like the very first time where we're both maxed, like I did actually have 8 disruptors, I think,
Yeah.
but I guess I just got out positioned or something. Do I
Well,
just need to push
you
into
let
the
him
guard?
backstab you on the left hand side, and this was like such a momentum shift, right? Because you had the time to be up at 80 probes, but even despite that, so here we
what-
go. Look, check out this moment where, so he has the left hand side watchtower, and this observer's not placed quite correctly. So your observer
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
left
that's a little
watchtower
off.
doesn't actually see the attack
yeah.
path, so you don't see him move out down that left hand side, which is really bad. That causes a big problem for you, because otherwise you would have been able to deny this 4th base. For sure. Like, his army's real small. Because he splits so much to the left, yeah.
Yeah, let's see.
Because he's got the Vikings, he kind of bullied us back a little. Some EMP and some Viking. And then his army appears out of nowhere. Where if we'd seen that army, we would have pushed in a lot more aggressively, a lot faster. Then he gets us to recall. And then we don't...
Attacking your
We actually know the command center was building here, but we might assume there's already a planetary or something. We're worried about defending.
I think I really need to push in if I'm playing disruptors. So I can't just let him bully me everywhere.
Yeah, you gotta get in there for sure. I mean, and that's the power of having so many disruptors as well. I mean, you had, was it 7?
Yeah.
7. 6 down here, 1 got recalled. Yeah. Yeah, you got to be pushing in between their bases for sure. If he gets to move around, like, there's disruptors, it's like a ball and chain, you know? It's just you're dragging this useless balls around. They're not where the fight's going to be.
My Phoenix are kind of being useless this whole time too. What should they be doing?
Ooh, I think they're doing what they should be doing, right?
think
Maybe
so?
they should have rotated to the top side to help defend up there. But I feel like they're kind of serving a role there just because they're such a fancy unit to be using, right? Like, he's got a lot of Vikings. They're just going to disappear instantly in a fight. Like, they're not really... 3 Phoenix isn't going to change keeping your Colossus alive. Like, your Colossus will get 1 more shot off and then they'll still die. I mean, you bring your Phoenix in the tail end of this, just when you F2 it, which, you know, is totally fine. But, yeah, I think it was just one of those things where the Phoenix actually should be off to the side. You know, it's just so hard to micro them in your engagements. Any ideas?
Maybe I can, instead of using 3 there, I can spread them better. Like, one, all 3 of them patrolling different spots.
As, like, spotters, partially, then?
Yeah. I mean, 3 Phoenix aren't... If he's dropping 4 medevacs or whatever, they're not even going to kill 1 medevac, honestly.
If it's 1 medevac, though, they do a good job
yeah.
of getting on top of it. Same thing with a Liberator. If you have 1 Phoenix on a Liberator, it's
That's
like...
true.
It's like being a 4-year-old trying to wrestle your dad, you know? You're like fucking tackling him and you're fighting your heart out and your dad's just giggling and shit as you're like punching him in the ribs and he's just like, lol. Like, 1 Phoenix takes forever to kill a Liberator. But yeah, if you've got holes in your vision, I think that's the way to do it. But I think this game, you had enough observers and stuff. We could have had a few pylons and shit around. Like, you started putting them up in the left. Could have had them down in the right a lot earlier. Would have been really
Yeah, I think
nice.
so.
But honestly, I mean, this is cool. Looks like a real winnable series for you, man.
Yeah, it was. I owned him game 1 also.
Hey, hells yeah, man. I think so higher probe count's going to change everything. A little bit more of like just containing ourselves with the Phoenix will be huge. The probe count obviously is just that overarching thing, but the sentries as well. I mean, we don't get to see it with this style in this replay, but check for that habit with the sentries.
There's yeah. You don't, like, this game, you don't see any downside of going like 6 gas, right? It seems like there's pretty much nothing, no reason I shouldn't be doing it.
No, not at all. Not when the game's all settled down like this. And I mean, if you're not doing it, it's like it's either that or the fast 5th base for sure.
Yeah.
In which case you're doing much more of a tempo, you know, momentum, constantly getting zealot prisms running in and zealot run bys and maybe even adding DTs in for more run bys if you were doing that lower gas style, like just a couple DTs sprinkled in just to cause more problems for your opponent, you know. Though you already do a fantastic job of doing that with your zealots. Yeah. I mean, we do a good job of playing a scrappy game, just never needed to get this scrappy, right?
Yeah, and scrappy games are like when you're zealot backstabbing all game long, it's a lot easier with 80 probes instead of 70. Like it kind of adds up if you're 70 probes and you're constantly throwing zealots away.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's something where you can grind him down if you do that otherwise, you know. If he's on 58, 55, 50 SCVs, you're on 80, it's a different game. You can afford to be inefficient, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. I had a game earlier today where I was kind of taking some inefficient Ling Bane trades, and like it looked good because I was killing a lot of economy and stuff, but I was on 66 workers, not 85, because I had a shit start. And it was the same thing where it's like, oh, this all looks good, but these aren't actually like directly super efficient trades, and then the Terran just has like a way bigger army than me. Or you know, and it's like, well, this should have been a situation where on his shitty little economy of 50 SCVs, like he should not be able to keep up. But if you don't have that economy to begin, then we do end up in trouble, especially with mules. Awesome, man. All right, let's hop out of this one. I bet a jet actually. So I think this was cool. Obviously, there's like always more replays, but I think it's, I don't know. What do you think? I personally think it's always more valuable to slowly dissect and obsess over tiny details until things become apparent to us, rather than trying to blitz through too many games, right? I'd rather kind of do it that way. But if you kind of feel like, oh, we probably could have sped through a few bits there in future, just, you know, be like, all right, maybe we can move to a new one if you think we've already gained some high value points. Because otherwise I will always tend to spend a literal shit ton of time on a single replay just digging for those mistakes that aren't popping out to me, because there's always things, right, that if we spend enough time looking, we'll find so many mistakes in a game of StarCraft. But that was awesome, man. Yeah, good play at Cheese as well. So did you get the Massa replays? Have you rewatched them?
Yeah, I rewatched them a while ago. I didn't watch them in too much depth, but I got some better ideas of what I should be doing, I think.
Cool, because that's like the sort of frustrating series where it's like
You
high
watched the
value.
series? Oh no.
Yeah, I caught the second half of it, but I was like, well, you're playing Massa. I'm sure the first half was the exact same as the second half, where it's like, where are my buildings? Where are they? What am I going to build out of my buildings that are proxied on the map? And you're like, oh, it's this fuck. What the fuck is this weird thing he's doing? Oh, God. Like, you know, and he just kind of catches you off guard a bit each time. That's how he plays TVP. It's not a bad way of playing TVP. So I think that's a series that you really, I mean, he's someone you're going to play again and again. You want to kind of like, absorb those replays, focus on the pain and the frustration, let yourself feel it, absorb it, take a deep breath, strategize what you can do next time, and let the pain wash over you and then eventually wash it away, because that guy is the nightmare of every fucking Protoss player in the world. He makes it so hard. I mean, Neeb looks like he's struggling even every time he's playing against him, and everyone else just looks like they're in shit city. It's a terrible, terrible place. You can't read into things the way you normally can, and you kind of have to figure out middle ground responses sometimes, which you don't really want to do, and all sorts of stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think it's impossible to come up with a response to like every possible thing Masa could do.
Exactly. And sometimes it's like, oh, I'm going to do an aggressive gamble like the proxy gate that you did, right? I'm going to do that because that does just fuck up a lot of his builds a good percentage of the time, right? Like, yeah, like those sort of things. Sometimes it's like, oh, well, if I can't play 100% safe against what he's doing, maybe I can find ways to play 60% or 70% safe, but then I can also throw in an 80% cheese of my own, or like proxy or something that like has a really good chance of fucking up his proxy. And like you find a way to just up your percentage. I don't think you can be 100% solid in every scenario. You've got to walk that line of towing the greed, you know, whilst trying to be safe, right? Don't get too uptight in terms of being overly defensive and trying to be 100% safe, but trying to just up the percentage a little bit as we get better and better reads on what he's doing, and we try to understand his weird brain a bit better with every game.
I don't even try to understand Masa, man.
Well, that's his strategy. He's like, if I don't understand what I'm doing, then they possibly can't. You know, he's confusion at its peak, man.
When I spend my game like trying to understand what he's thinking, then I usually just lose. I have to just focus on what I'm doing.
maybe a deep dive sesh would be nice. All right, man. I got a jet, but good luck in your practice. Merry Christmas, and talk to you soon, man.
All right, take care.
Good night, buddy.
See ya.
Awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you had a good time there.